Hello everyone, and welcome to 13's Diner, a place for when you need a break from the rampant crime, corporate exploitation, and giant robots punching each other that is so common in my LEGO world. So pull up a seat, take a load off, and grab a drink. As always, if you like this build and you want to help support my channel, instructions will be available on my PayHip page. The link will be in the description as well as in my pinned comment down below. This entire mock is built on a custom 20 by 20 base that uses various tiles and plates to give the impression that the pavement is not super well maintained, and also to give figures plenty of places to stand. The structure itself is pretty straightforward, but I will admit I felt a lot of pressure while building it, since I've used the words cyberpunk dystopia quite a bit to describe my LEGO world, and this was my first attempt at actually getting that vibe across through a structure instead of a mech. A lot of that thought process went into building this big obnoxious billboard, which is apparently advertising that new printed battery piece. Have you used it yet? If not, you should. It's a pretty good piece. There's also a few random extra details that I hope you got a good look at because we're not going to be focusing on them very much. I went ahead and scattered some various characters around the place, all with varying levels of seedy, but they all seem appropriately futuristic in my opinion. Looking back at the actual diner, I think it came together pretty well. The building itself is just bricks on bricks, but I like its colors, and I also really like the awning, even though it took me an embarrassing amount of time and weird failed awning designs before I realized I was overthinking and I could just extend the roof to create it. Pretty simple technique to make the sign, but I'm happy with it, and you can just imagine the dull neon glow that would be coming off this row of grill pieces. There's also an AC unit on the roof that I'm pretty proud of, as well as various other greebles that sure could serve a purpose if someone took the time to give them one, and I truly hope that person comes along someday. Looking below said awning, we see the bar where the titular 13 is serving some customers. There's a couple of friends catching up, while another guy just enjoys a bit of solitary downtime. The food is a long way from 5 stars, but it's cheap, it's hot, and it's probably at least a couple steps above the dehydrated rations you have back in your habitation chamber. Who says dehydrated like that? Plus, 13 is a pretty entertaining host. She knows all the regulars and has lots of good stories, and you get the feeling that maybe she had a more action-packed line of work in another life. She never goes into it, but you've picked up enough clues here and there to form a couple theories. And there's a TV, so you can watch pirated mecha derby races while you eat. Speaking of 13, here's a better look at her kitchen. I had a lot of fun building that stove and deep fryer, and the stove even has a hood. Over on the other side is a small freezer and a row of taps for serving drinks. Half off if there's a race on. 13 does love the races. Around the side, there are a couple of vending machines that were also pretty fun to build and are probably the closest I've come in a long time to using illegal building techniques. There's a tile wedged in the back of each one to keep the cans pressed up against the front, which I don't think is strictly illegal per se, but I'd still prefer that we keep this our little secret. Also, how good are those printed video tiles for just everything? Those sets should have kept going for 100 years. The vending machines feature a couple of different drink options, and you might be able to guess which one is more popular. Rather than the other side of the building being left completely blank, I decided to use it as a dumping ground for all the printed pieces I keep saving and then don't have a use for. I like to think these represent everything from old concert posters to stickers to little bits of artwork or even graffiti. As long as people keep it relegated to this wall, 13 doesn't mind, since it means she never has to finish painting it. You can also see that this is clearly the tough guy corner where only the cyberist of cyberpunks hang out. Around back is pretty simple with a small dumpster, and that vent is actually for the hood that was over the stove. You can also see the door to get access to the kitchen, which has a keypad for entering the passcode to get in. Now, I like to think people respect 13 too much to do this, but because this is cyberpunk and because I know people will leave comments if I don't, here you go. Bunch of pyros. Now, you may be wondering how 13 manages to keep her diner from being shaken down by some street punk, especially in a world where street punks look like this. And the answer is Vincent. Vincent is 13's robotic helper slash bouncer, and he's pretty good at keeping the peace. Personally, I have not yet found the number of drinks it would take for me to think I could take discount E3N in a fight, and I hope I never do. You can tell Vincent has seen some action himself based on his replacement left arm, and I imagine his original purpose was to serve as some kind of small combat support drone. How did 13 end up with one? Those theories just keep on coming. At least he wants you to have fun though. I also like to imagine that instead of speaking, Vincent displays whatever he's saying on his face monitor, which is something I have incredibly vague memories of seeing one time in a Spy Kids comic, I think. If anyone else also has this memory, please reassure me that I am not losing my mind. Imagine getting a bit rowdy during a night out and coming face to face with this though. Now, anyone who has seen my Ralphie video, or even just knows me at all, knows where this is headed. After all, I don't build robots, I build mechs, and Vincent is both. Simply swing his head over into the back seat, and now you're ready to put the 13 and 13 counts of assault and battery. And that's 13's Diner. I gotta say, it was pretty fun having a go at actually fleshing out what life in my city would look like, even if it is just this very small little piece of it. But I guess you have to start somewhere. Hopefully, with more parts and more space, I'll be able to start actually putting an entire city together. No guarantees, obviously, but a guy can dream. And as always, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you really like this video, feel free to subscribe and leave a comment and tell me what you thought of all of this. Again, the instructions are going to be linked down below for my pay hit page, but until next time, I've been Mindbender, and I will talk to you later.